Brandon. All right. Now, this is the finals. We're both undefeated. There's one other undefeated set. My buddy Devin Slater. Shout out to my legacy mentor, Devin Slater, and my gym mentor, David Gorilla. I know I butchered that name, and I'm sorry. But I want to call him Gorilla because he's a fucking beast. This man in the gym, he may wear the glasses, he may have the collared shirt, but he's a beast in the gym. He's my lifting partner, or not. I can't say my partner. We haven't gone to the gym in a while, but we used to have a whole group that would go, and we play basketball and everything. But things got really cold, and that's how it goes. So, got shout out to David for being awesome. We play test all the time. Back when modern RCQ season was going on, I was privileged enough to be a part of the testing group. Yeah, just all around great guy, super smart. If you want to talk to somebody about like lines and like analytics, David's the guy. He's super numbers oriented, and I love numbers. So it's always a great time when I play against him. Okay, so it looks like I kept a hand with no untapped land. Lead it off on a vial. I'm assuming this is like some version of control, but I don't know what David's on because I haven't played him in a very long time. Usually I'm doing bad and he's doing good. So I don't realize he's on breach until this moment. And I realize how horrible my hand was. I have a chain whirler, 2 ignobles, an arena of glory, another trawler, and a munitions expert. The munitions expert can't kill anything anytime soon. And I'm going to die to this graveyard combo deck very quickly. My keep was something where I was like, okay, I'm on the play. I can turn to this chain whirler, but then I started thinking about it, and I really can't because I need another red source in order to cast the chain whirler, and the vial only goes up to 1 on turn 2, so I'll still be casting the chain whirler on turn 3. It's just such a bad rate. This is when I'm realizing how bad my keep was. And you have to try these things. You have to explore the bad lines, and if you don't try them, you'll never know whether or not it was good or not. So this was definitely a mulligan. He draws the Mox Amber, which is really very strong. Emery. I'm gonna respond to the Emery trigger. I'm a little slow there. This is my decision point. I'm like, okay, well, if I have a point to interact, it's right now. I have to kill this Emery before he can do anything. I want him to have the least amount of information as possible before I do something. Excuse me. So I would like to kill the Emery. He has a sink into stupor, and so this will force him, if he has some interaction, to use it, which is good for me if I top deck combo pieces or aggressive threats. So he will end up using the sink into stupor. Sink into stupor on the ignoble, which is smart because it keeps me from having mana, and then the munitions just deals the 1. Then the Emery trigger resolves, and it's pretty bad. Plays another opal. The Emery trigger is, I think it's land, Malevolent Rumble. Land, Malevolent Rumble. Untap upkeep. I decide to keep the vial on 1 because I don't have any green mana to cast my ignobles, and I don't want them to just rot in my hand. Also, I don't have a lot of things to take up my vial for. I don't have any good card advantage cards right now. I'm trying to figure out if I should bog him now. He doesn't have any good cards in the graveyard. And I realize, it really doesn't matter because if he has Grinding Station, I die next turn if he draws Breach, even with an empty graveyard. I'll play the Ignoble with the vial to give the Munitions Expert an Exalted trigger to punch in for 2. Put him on a clock and hope that he doesn't top deck Breach. I respect it. Or Malevolent Rumble finds the Breach. That's what it is. I thought he top decked the Breach, but no, Malevolent Rumble finds the Breach, which is really good. Underworld Breach is this card is banned in Legacy. It's so good. I would love to see it banned in Modern just because Mox Opal got unbanned. They're like, you know what? Mox Opal's fine, but Underworld Breach, that's too bad. That's too much. I'm not calling for the ban. I'm just laughing at it. Now my opponent has established a loop. So if you don't know, Underworld Breach is you may cast spells from your graveyard with Escape. Either Escape is exile 3 cards from your graveyard in addition to paying their mana costs. So Grinding Station, when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you untap it, and then you tap it to sacrifice an artifact to mill 3. So what he's doing is he played a Mox Opal. He tapped the Mox Opal for a color of mana, red in this instance. Then grind and then played Grinding Station. Grinding Station trigger on the stack to untap it. You tap, sack the Mox Opal. Now your Mox Opal's in your graveyard. You mill 3 cards. The trigger to untap resolves, untapping your Grinding Station. Then you exile the 3 cards that you milled, as long as they're not combo cards, to recast the Mox Opal. The Mox Opal then enters. Untap trigger on the stack. You sack the opal to the Grinding Station. But before you sack it, you tap it for another red. This way, you've established a loop. You are making a red and milling 3 cards straight into exile to recast your opal every single loop. This eventually either finds Thassa's Oracle or Grape Shot and wins the game. I see the Grape Shot. I'm playing through it because I want to see the win cons and his deck configuration. If he's a bigger deck than I realize, and he plays a lot of like big threats that his like alternate way of winning is doing something else, I'll see that. But it looks like his deck's very straightforward. The only thing that's not a 1 or a 2 are Emery, Grinding Station, Underworld Breach. Everything else is a 1, or I guess it's Sync and Malevolent Rumble as well. So it's Sync, Malevolent Rumble, Emery, Grinding Station, Underworld Breach. All the rest of his deck is 0 and 1 mana artifacts and setup pieces. So I'm going straight for my slow dirtily cards. My ignobles are coming out. My vials are coming out. All these cards that just take a little bit of time to build up value, it's just not worth it because the breach deck is just so explosive. I need to have almost all of my hate cards. So we're going to cut 3 ignoble hierarch. We're going to cut the Sting Scourger can come out. 2 instigators should have come out, but I didn't take them out. The Chain Whirler's coming out because it was really bad there. Trash Master's amazing. And the 4 vials. So we have 3 ignoble, 4 vial, 1 Sting Scourger. For 4 Leyline, 3 Chalice, and then 1 Rakdos Charm is what I end up on. But I should definitely have brought in Meltdown. Meltdown. If we just go Chalice, Meltdown, I know we don't really get to have Leyline to exile their graveyard constantly, but being able to like Trawler to exile their stuff after we've destroyed it is good. What the commentary said, shout out to Dom and May doing amazing commentary, was I could bring in all 15 cards, and it's true. I didn't even think about that. It was between Meltdown and Chalice, and then I was definitely bringing in the Ley Lines. Those were my 7 cards to board. But I was looking at Dampening Sphere and trying to debate whether or not it's better or worse than Chalice or Meltdown. And I decided that Chalice is the best. It goes like Chalice is like the best if my opponent has nothing, right? And they just have 0s and 1s in their hand. I go Chalice on 0, Chalice on 1, the game ends. Meltdown's really good if I'm behind, but it's really bad if I play Chalice. So Meltdown naturally gets worse because Chalice is as good as it is. Dampening Sphere is like the 3rd best card, and then Rakdos Charm is like the 4th best card. So I decided to go 3 Chalice, 4 Leyline, and a Rakdos Charm just because Rakdos Charm is the flexibility of like randomly spiking me a game if something crazy happens. But yeah, that's how I decided to board. And looking back, I should have taken out. So we only took out 8 cards, right? We should have also taken out the Squee, the 2 Warren Instigators, and the Skirk. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we should also cut. We can cut both the Munitions Experts. So that's 5 more cards. Bring in the 2nd Rakdos Charm, and bring in all the Dampening Spheres. So we have from Rakdos Charm down, board in, take out 3 Ignoble, a Skirk, 4 Vial, so that's 8 cards, 2 Munitions Experts, a Sting Scourger, a Warren Instigator. So that's 10, 13. Yeah, that's how I do it. Maybe leave the Sting Scourger. This hand's amazing. We have a Instigator, which is actually really bad because I'm like, after the match, I was thinking about it, and they have Tamio, they have Emery, they have a billion cards that are 1/2s that they can power out super aggressively. But this hand has a ley line, so I'm very tempted to try it. And we do. It's also my 6, which is crazy. This is a crazy keep because I don't have a second red source for this Instigator at all. My turn 1 Surveil land was to find my second red source. The top card's a ley line, so I just bin it. My hand is the land, Instigator, Matron, Trash Master. Trash Master is amazing if I can cheat it into play with Instigator. But oh my god. If I don't top deck a red source, this game is so over, and I'm already down a game. So this hand, both these hands have been highly suspect by me. But we're doing testing. I don't play against Breach a lot. It's one of those things where if you don't know what you're playing against, you don't really know what hands you want. And I definitely just need to play against David more. I need to play against Breach more in general. That's why I'm so excited to be back with modern coverage. Shout out to Energy Series and Energy Store for the amazing coverage. You see the names down there, Dom and May, both amazing people. And I know we actually got Haviva in the back, so shout out to Haviva for doing the awesome work, keeping everything running behind the scenes. We're gonna fetch a basic, play the Instigator. Bippity boppity boop. Fascinating. So now I have to hope that my opponent doesn't have a blocker. And I know they have a Malevolent Rumble in their hand because that's like the best card. If they have a Malevolent Rumble, it just like, I don't want to say it answers all their problems, but it really helps. Puts the cards in the graveyard. Never mind, there's no graveyard. It picks up a Haywire Might out of the exile pile when you mill it. Play an Opal, play a Springleaf Drum. Have 2 mana. Play Malevolent. So there's the blocker. And I kind of just take it slow and I play through the blocker. Take my time. Don't be too hasty. I don't have many options, but that's just like how you have to do it sometimes. Is you take your time, you try to play through as much as you can. Especially if your opponent's just jumping with their mana source. I know he has access to a billion mana here, but I have to hope. Is that an Ashiok in his hand? Oh, baby. Next time he looks at that hand, I am going to be very interested. David does a great job of keeping his hand away from the camera. My hand's like always on view, but David's got a good. I also have a coverage mindset because I stream, so my brain's always like, can they see my cards? It's not that's an Emery. Okay, I thought that was an Ashiok Nightmare Muse or Nightmare Render, the one that keeps your opponents from searching their library. And oh my god, is that card good against me? Being able to turn off my fetch lands and all my tutors are so good. Is so good. Looking, trying to figure out. Looking at the Sling Gang, looking at the Ringleader. Looking at the Sling Gang, looking at the Ringleader. I really think now, looking back, that if I put this Sling Gang into play, Oh yeah, because they jumped. David jumped. Okay, so we're setting up for next turn. If I grab a sling gang, and I just do double sling gang things, later 2 turns later, we're gonna see I'm a little bit short on damage, and that second sling gang would have been very important. So David has the option to make a construct, tap the construct for a mana, have access to another mana, have 2 mana, play Emery. Oh no, Emery's 3. So David is on purely construct time. I'm gonna shock myself, play the Trash Master. This might have been a little bit hasty. No, that's not true because this allows me to shatter the construct that is chump blocking the instigator. So I shatter it with the matron. Instigator trigger. Now, if this was a sling gang, I could shatter all 3 of his artifacts here. Snoop, Harbinger, which is actually not the greatest. I mean, it is good if I put the Snoop into play instead of the matron, which I do not. Thus, because here's the thing, if I put the Snoop into play instead of the matron, I can still sack the ringleader to shatter the opal. But then the Snoop and the Trash Master are 2 different pithing needle targets. And this line will give him another turn. Yeah, this line will give him another turn with the ability to interact with my Snoop. Whereas if I put it into play instead of that matron, I'd have matron, Harbinger, Snoop in my hand, play Snoop, see the top card. He took out the Haywire Might, that's a punt, and you hate to see it for sideboarding. It's one of the frustrating things. Sometimes your brain just turns off when you're sideboarding, and you're like, "What's the chaff? What can I shave?" And sometimes you take out and port. I do it. I did it in the last match against Oculus when you take out your Sting Scourger against the Murktide deck, but he has a Pithing Needle, so he names Trash Master. Now I sit up straight because I've realized that putting the matron into play is going to lose me this sequence. Because he's going to be able to grab a he didn't make a construct, right? Tutor, 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 tutor. End step, untap. Just floats a mana, okay. Plays another Urza Saga. I was thinking for a second. Plays the Shadow Spear from hand. That's what it was. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, I should have put the Snoop into play. That's what the head flick was. I've done the math. I'm going to lose to this life linking construct that's huge. Also, Sting Scourger. If I had Sting Scourger in the deck instead of this Instigator, I know I wouldn't have been able to chuck the Trash Master into play, but I'd be able to unsummon the construct. Make a construct. Blocks, sack to drain gain, puts to 8. Even this line is risky. I should have just went to combat, attacked, dealt 6, played Snoop, passed. Said, you can't kill me in 1 turn. I have a Trash Master, so your Unholy Heat can't kill my thing. Your Unholy Heat can't kill my Snoop. And I would have been able to sneak this game. Very close. Hindsight's 2020. This is why we analyze, because then later when I play, I know even though Sling Gang feels good here, with the trample, the Sling Gang does nothing. And I've just wasted another turn of important tempo. I have to go no blocks. I've realized that I no longer can kill him in one turn cycle, and now I desperately need an Arena of Glory, and the top deck is not an Arena. Now, if I take a deep breath and I'm not flustered, I see that I can. Here, let's take a deep breath. Let's not be flustered. I have another Leyline in my hand, Stomping Ground, Harbinger, Snoop. If I think May was saying this, and last night I was trying to do the math, but now that I'm rested and I woke up, I can do this math. I play the Snoop, I play the Harbinger. It doesn't matter what the Harbinger puts on top, but it should be a Sling Gang, because Sling Gang allows me to have 2 Sling Gangs playing around in Unholy Heat. I go to combat. I attack with all of my guys. 2, 4, 6. Here, we'll count. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't sack to drain gain with the Sling Gang on the Trash Master. But then this is how my brain went. So yeah, so let's best case scenario, right? This is 12. They block the Trash Master. I sack. Oh no, block the Trash Master. That's fine. Go to damage. 3 plus 6 is 9. He goes to 7. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goblins. The reason so that's 15. The reason I feel like this attack is not, and the reason it doesn't work in my mind, he blocks the Trash Master. So if I attack with everything, he blocks the Sling Gang, because then I have to sack the Sling Gang. No, because if the Snoop is so in this scenario, we put Sling Gang on top. With that, he blocks Trash Master. We have now a decision to make. Do we sack the Trash Master before damage to drain gain for 1, but giving up on 4 extra points of damage? Or do we lose that 1 point of damage after combat and let the Trash Master die? So we probably just let the Trash Master die. And then unblocked is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've played 10 or 9, and then I can sack 10 for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points of damage. I'm 1 short, which is what I counted 3 times. And the issue is, even if I don't put another Sling Gang on top, if I attack with everything, he blocks the Sling Gang, which takes away my ability to double my damage. So I can't attack with the Sling Gang. And then if I attack without the Sling Gang, the attack of just the 2/2, the 3/3, and the Trash Master is bad because he blocks the Trash Master. Same issue as before. Do I give up on 1 point of reach? Or because if he does nothing, it is 16, but it's not, and that's the tough part. So if he blocks the Trash Master and I don't attack with the Sling Gang, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I sack this, it's even less. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I sack the Sling or the Trash Master before damage is dealt. So I don't attack with the Sling, right? Which was that's a punt because I can just put another Sling Gang on top and make the Snoop my Sling Gang. So if we do that and we attack with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, he blocks the Trash Master. We don't sacrifice it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 still. Then I sack for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, is that how we do it? Put another Sling Gang on top. Yeah, see, I did punt. This is why we count 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6, 10, 12. Yes. We attack. Blocks the Trash Master. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, I counted without the Trash Master dying. 1, 2, so we know this is 12. And we have 2 extra guys in play. They block 3 of it, so they take 9. They go to 7. 12, 13, 14, 15. So they take 9. 3, 5. I know this is infuriating to watch, I'm sure. 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, so they block 1. And if I don't sack it, then I don't get to 16. But if I sack specifically the Trash Master, then I don't deal 15, making the sack for the 16th irrelevant. It's a really tough spot that I put myself in because I didn't put the Snoop into play 2 turns ago. So that was just me sequencing very poorly. I wanted to run through the math because I thought watching it last night that it was 15, and I heard May say that she was able to count. They were able to count 16, and so my brain was hoping that I could somehow get there. And I should just hold this Harbinger. That's another thing that I do wrong here, is I just play a tap land. Is I shock myself, go to 7, so that it makes it even harder for me to live through this construct. He can get another opal and make another construct. That's 3, 4. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 if we include the construct and the opal. That's an 11, 12 trampler. A 12, 12 trampler with lifelink. This Trash Master would have been really good. And this would be the turn to combo if I put the Snoop into play last turn. I really need it to be like something that it's not here. Like, I'm like Skirk. We could do Skirk if I have a good card, but I don't. I'm really tanking. Took out the Sting Scourger. Looking at the Squee. Really, 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 really hoping that I'm doing this math wrong, but I do the math again. I can't attack with these 2. I can't attack with this. Yeah, I'm doing the math if the Snoop is a Sling Gang. And it's 15. So I don't attack with the Sling Gang, it's even less. Don't attack with the Trash Master, it's even less. It just goes downhill really fast. I should not put a Kikijiki on top. I should put a Sting Scourger on top. But hindsight's 2020. I might also want to board in a second like artifact removal, like our Goblin that shatters, just for Pithing Needle, because I feel like I really don't like Crater Maker. Like, Crater Maker's good, don't get me wrong. Amazing against Eldrazi. Can kill an Emrakul. If you didn't know that, Crater Maker is a 2-mana goblin that takes down Emrakul. Destroy target colorless non-land permanent. He just throws himself at the big spaghetti monster and it blows up. Maybe that's why it was raining spaghetti and meatballs in that one movie. Interesting. But yeah, no, I'm in a really tough spot. David's maneuvered this really well. Triple Urza Saga, really, really hard to deal with. And I'm just really kicking myself mentally now. I'm like, oh, I had all the cards. I just didn't sequence them right. Thinking about what I should have done as I die to this huge trampling construct. This turn, I've resigned myself because I could only put him to 1 and then die on the backswing. I've resigned myself to blocking, and it doesn't go well. Makes a construct. This Saga is going to go grab a Aether Spellbomb. And that card's amazing. It unsummons the Snoop because the Snoop is currently a 3/3. And I believe he shows me that he has an Unholy Heat. Just attack for 1,000,000,000. And my shock last turn and my Kiki Jiki on top. I've really put me in a corner. If he unsummons my Lord, he tramples over for 1,000,000,000. It's just really, really bad. Go to damage, I say. So we have 10 power here. Gonna Unholy Heat. 2/2. The Harbinger. Probably the Sling Gang. It's tough because he doesn't have a graveyard, so he can only deal 2, and he can't kill the Snoop with it. It's the Sling Gang. The Ringleader's a 3/3. So commentary comes out and says the Ringleader's a 3/3, and I go, oh yeah, the Ringleader is a 3/3. You're right. Which is crazy because it's one of the only cards he could target that is a 3/3, which is just tough. You know, he looked around for a second before just deciding on a card and happened to pick the one that had a lot of toughness. Go through damage. Very behind. I'm at 3, facing down another gigantic construct. And I will probably concede. He bounced my Snoop. Yeah, he bounced my Snoop so that I can't combo kill on my upkeep. Then passed, and I drew the Kiki Jiki, and now my hand is Leyline, Kiki Jiki, Snoop. Mox Opal's really good. I respect it. I remember losing to it back in the day, and you can't feel bad when you lose to Mox Opal. Play a Kiki Jiki. Does Kiki beat 2 constructs? The answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no when they have Shadow Spear. Shadow Spear is a very good card. Opponent equips the Shadow Spear. Does some quick maths. Tap to target the Sling Gang. In response, Galvanic. Good. And that's the match. Because I can't gain life, and that'll be it. Well played, opponent. Well played. Yeah. David's a great guy. As I said, you know, tested a lot for like team events and stuff. He's one of the close guys with the Flex Lot guys. So it's always a fun time to play with them. Shout out to Team Flex Lot. Shout out to George Jabor for running the whole crew, being an absolute legend. And shout out to NRG Series for hosting these awesome live streams. It's always awesome to play Magic with friends. And so thank you guys so much for watching. The line is attacking before playing anything. Hope they block the Sling Gang, and then Snoop and Harbinger for another Sling Gang. Since you're on Jund Goblins, you can run Mass Vandal as well as another artifact removal card that also hits Saga. Mass Vandal is a good idea. I forgot that Mass Vandal could hit Saga. Honestly, that's a very good point. When you can Stone Rain your opponent in green, that seems pretty cool. This ain't no Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm about to chop this up and then release it as some videos. We're gonna do 2 different rounds at the NRG. And yeah, so there's more stuff coming soon. I'm about to make a bunch of YouTube shorts too. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day.